I'll take this guy. There is nothing better than hot bread fresh from the oven. I'm a big fan. And because bread is the foundation of the easiest meal to make, I'm devoting the whole show to sandwiches. They're portable, delicious, and not just for lunch. One of my favorite meals on a bun starts with picadillo, the wildly popular ground meat dish from Latin America. It's filled with good stuff: olives, dried fruit, and spices. What's not to love? I serve mine on a hot dog bun from New York's Hot Bread Kitchen, a collective that trains unemployed women to work in bakeries. They make some of the tastiest bread around. We'll visit their incredible kitchens and meet some of the women who've gotten a leg up through this worthy organization. On Ask Sara, I'll answer a viewer's question about vanilla beans and show you some cool things to do with them. And then another great sandwich: roasted vegetables and fresh ricotta. How fresh? So fresh you make it yourself, and I'll show you how. What's between the bread? Between you and me? We'll find out next on Sara's Weeknight Meals. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Funding provided by
the 2016 Subaru Legacy. With symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 36 mpg. It pairs well with every kind of road. Subaru, proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
And thanks to the generous support of Today's show is all about the bread, and as we know, you can't have bread without bakers. In New York City, we found an extraordinary bakery that trains unemployed women to work in bakeries. It's called Hot Bread Kitchen.
My name is Clarice Sango from West Africa.
My name is Shadea Jackson and I'm from Harlem, East Harlem.
Mi nombre es Fanny Pérez, soy de Ecuador.
My name is Jessamine Waldman Rodriguez and I'm the CEO and founder of Hot Bread Kitchen. I started Hot Bread Kitchen because I recognized that there was really an opportunity to help women get better jobs in the culinary industry while at the same time meeting a demand in the market for really delicious breads. Early on, there was a lot of figuring it out, there was a lot of big successes, and there was a lot of big challenges. We run a commercial operating bakery, and we have a training program for women, and the women in that training program staff the bakery. So many of the breads that we sell are made by women that are really just learning how to bake. The Bakers in Training program is a 9-month paid on-the-job training program.
And in 9 months you will learn everything like baking, mixing, baking any kind of bread.
En Hot Bread Kitchen aprendí todo, todo en forma de hacer el pan en diferentes clases de pan.
When you finish those 9 months and when they see you ready, they will graduate you and they will find you another job somewhere else.
We have women working all over the city, and in doing so, we're really changing the face and the gender of an industry.
To be honest with you, I want to do a backflip in the store because my hands made that, you know. So it's like, wow, is this really being sold? Wow, like, you know, it's just a shock, surprise, ecstatic, like, you know, it's just a lot of emotions in one.
¿Cuáles son tus esperanzas de Mexico? Quisiera tener mi propio restaurante. Quizás algún día pueda, no sé.
It feels like we're creating a launch pad to real careers of the future, and it's really exciting for the women that we serve.
I'm learning to become a baker, a real baker. Yeah.
Today I'm going to be making Picadillo Sloppy Joes using Hot Bread Kitchen bread. But you know, if you wanted to make your own bread, this is a wonderful cookbook. And this great program helps create jobs. So picadillo is a Latin American dish. It's very traditional. It consists of ground meat and sort of a tomatoey sauce with olives and raisins, although today I'm going to use prunes. We'll talk about that in a minute. And it's traditionally served over rice, but today I'm going to put it on a bun. We're going to make it into a sandwich. Okay, I'm going to start by chopping my onion and getting it in the pan. Onion gives it great depth of flavor. Okay. A little bit of oil. I'm going to use olive oil. Now this is a good dish because it just takes no time at all, but also because this is the sort of thing you could make a triple batch and freeze it. Freezes beautifully. You just get this in there. It'll heat up nicely. We don't want to get too much color in them, we just want to soften them. Give it a stir. I'm going to give it a pinch of salt. You should season as you go. Don't wait until the end. Pinch of salt, kosher salt. Okay, so 3 cloves of garlic. We're going to mince. And then let me talk about ground meat. I'm going to grind my own today because I like to know what went into my ground meat. If you buy something at the supermarket that's just called hamburger or ground beef or, 30% lean or whatever they say, you don't know what went into it. I mean, I'm not saying they threw in random stuff, but it's all parts of the animal. And I don't want all parts of the animal. I want to know that it came from one part. But even better, just do it yourself, and then you can see what goes in there. So you want to keep it cool. I've frozen my meat cubes for 30 minutes just to make sure that when they're ground up, it's still pretty cool. I didn't let the meat overheat. And you don't want to handle it too much. Okay, while these cook, let me get my meat out and we're going to grind it. So 30 minutes, it's been cut into 1-inch chunks. It's chuck, which is one of my favorites when I want flavor, because chuck has the right percentage of fat to lean. I mean, a pretty high percentage of fat. So if you want to make this leaner, you could certainly use a leaner cut of meat with a lower amount of fat. That would be fine. Like ground round, that would be a good choice. It won't be as flavorful because fat provides flavor. So here we go. So we want to pulse this because we don't want to end up with mush. Now let me see what I've got. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few more. No, actually, I think that's quite good. See, it looks nicely ground. Even if you have a few big pieces with picadillo, that's not a problem. Okay, I'm going to do the second round. The double blades in this machine really help to grind it up evenly. All right, that was about 4 pulses. Isn't that incredible? I bet you didn't realize you can grind your own meat, but you can. It's so simple. All right, into here. And let me add my garlic to the onions and rinse my hands. Give this a quick stir. Let me just rinse my hands because I just had them in all that ground meat. All right, so I'm going to turn up the heat under the pan because we want to get this cooked pretty quickly. We don't want it to steam, we want it to saute. There I got my hands all hamburgery again, so I'm just rinse it off. And we're going to stir that up and let it cook. So this will just take a few minutes to get some color on it. Okay, time for the pimento olives. We need a 1/2 cup chopped. You could certainly use other olives if you want, but these are pretty traditional. Just a rough chop. Okay, and then we're going to add a cup of water, which I'm just going to get from the sink. There we go. And a can of chilies. And these are just mild chilies, these canned chilies. You could certainly roast your own. I'm just draining them a little bit. And I'm going to press down a little bit. You could roast your own chilies, you know, serranos, jalapenos, poblanos, if you wanted a little more heat. And then we're going to add 1 cup of chili sauce. And I know this is just about a cup right there. And that's it for a few minutes. We just want to let this simmer for about 15 minutes. We want all those flavors to come together. This is delicious right off the bat, but it would be even better if you could let it sit overnight. All right, now I'm going to chop some prunes. Now we all know that prunes are good for our digestive health. You know, people joke about it, but hey, that is no joke. It's important. And that's because they're very high in fiber. But I've recently learned some other things about prunes that I didn't know, and this one is for us, ladies, you and me. It's very good for bone health because they are high in potassium. So this is something you might want to start adding to your diet. Plus, prunes are low on the glycemic index, and what that means is that when you eat prunes, yeah, they're sweet. So you say, oh my God, quick energy. It's not quick energy, it's energy that stays with you. So you eat them and you feel energetic for quite a while. So these guys just get chopped. You can also buy them chopped, which I highly recommend for something like this because they are a bit sticky, but that wasn't so hard. Okay, so in they go. And we're going to simmer this for about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to cut up these. Aren't these beautiful hot dog buns? Now, there's 2 ways you could cut them. You could cut them this way, which is the sort of more traditional way, or you could do it the New England way. This is what we do for lobster rolls. And I'm going to do it this way because I think it's going to look pretty. Okay. Now let me taste and see where we're at. Actually, I'm going to add a little hot sauce because I love my hot sauce. And because we've got some sweet things in here, namely the tomato and also the prunes, we know that this is going to be a little sweet, so the chilies will work nicely with that sugar and make it not seem quite so sweet and be more balanced. And then, as if that wasn't good enough, we're going to add a little lemon. I just want to see if it needs any salt. Oh, I'm so glad I added that hot sauce. No, it doesn't need any salt. I'm going to add a little regular pepper and a tiny bit of lemon because the lemon helps to balance that sugar too. So we've got a lot of umami ingredients in there, namely the meat and the tomatoes are high in umami. Go right in. Okay, that is looking good. I think we're ready to serve this up. So you can find these wonderful buns online. You could order them from hotbreadkitchen.org. They're just really wonderful, or you could just use your regular supermarket. Wow, doesn't that look fantastic? I mean, really, you saw how quick that was. This has got everything going for it. It's sweet, it's salty, it's sour, it's spicy, it's yummy, it's dinner, it's a sandwich. Yay, perfect weeknight meal. All these great questions on my website, and I have a particularly good one today. It's from Alex from Ventura, California, and it's about vanilla. And there I have you. Hi, Alex. So you're a baker, Sarah, and you want to do more baking. Tell me your dilemma about vanilla beans.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. I am trying to be a better baker, and I've noticed that more advanced recipes call for vanilla bean instead of vanilla extract. And I don't know the first thing about using vanilla beans, how to store them, or how to use them. And I also want to know, are they interchangeable with extract?
Yes, okay, all right, let's start. I have two suspects right here. Here we have a vanilla bean, and you can see it's nice and pliant, it's nice and fresh. Here's how you use it straight up, and the reason to use it is it has a much floral, more intense aroma and taste than extract. So how you use it, and they'll usually tell you in the recipe, but I'm going to tell you in a minute how to go from one to the other, from extract to bean, is you cut it down the middle, right down the middle, the length of it, right? You go all the way down on both sides. You have to separate it, because what you want to get out is the insides, the vanilla seed, and then you scrape out the seeds. That's where the flavor is. So when you scrape it with a knife, it all comes out on the knife. You see all that black stuff at the end of it? Yeah. So that is what you add to the recipe. Usually, sometimes you add just the seeds, sometimes you add the split beans. So sometimes you'll put it into, say, a liquid. You're making a creme anglaise and you're infusing it. A creme anglaise is a custard sauce. And then you take it out and the seeds will stay in, but the bean, you're like, okay, it's done. I should toss it. Don't toss it. We know they're a little bit pricey. So you rinse the pod. This is after you've used it. You dry the pod, and then you can put it into sugar, just a canister of sugar. And what will happen is it will infuse the whole jar of sugar with the flavor of vanilla. So when you have your coffee, you have your whatever, you sprinkle it on your strawberries, the sugar, wow, you got the vanilla. Okay, but here's another idea. You can make your own vanilla extract. So you start the same way. So again, you cut the bean, the length of it, all the way down. You don't have to scrape out the seeds for this. And you need about 7 to make a batch. But this batch will last you forever. And then you cut it into lengths. Okay, and you find a little 1-cup jar, which we've got right here. So you transfer your split cut pods, and there'll be 7 of them, not just one. And then you top it off 1 cup of either bourbon, rum, brandy, or vodka, depends on what your favorite thing is. And then, this very complicated recipe, huh? Vodka's the traditional one, but you might want the flavor from those other alcohols. You might prefer it. But this would be a great gift for any occasion. You can make a whole batch. And then you just store it out of the sunlight, shake it every couple of days, and after 8 weeks, you have homemade vanilla extract. Yum. Now, one last thing you asked, the difference between vanilla extract and vanilla bean. How do you translate one for the other? Let's say you want to add bean in place of extract. So the rule is for every teaspoon of vanilla extract, you use 1-inch length of a vanilla pod. Okay? So, but scrape out the seeds, put in the bean, put in the seeds. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
I loved it. I have a whole tutorial on vanilla extract. Now, if you have a question that you'd like to ask me for Ask Sara that we can do on the show, please reach out to my website, saramolton.com. The star of the next sandwich I'm making, which is a grilled vegetable sandwich with cheese, is the cheese, because it's homemade ricotta cheese. The first time I ever made it was at Gourmet Magazine. It's a recipe from the magazine from the creative director named Richard Ferretti. He made it all the time with his family. And it's a complete magic trick. And it's so ridiculously simple. But let's start with the vegetables first. I'm grilling them. You could roast them. Just get the oven at 400 degrees and throw them in. Brush with a little olive oil, salt and pepper like I'm doing here for the grill. Just what you want to do is just cook them so that all the natural sugars come out, so they caramelize, and that will happen either on the grill or in the oven. I, meanwhile, have also put into the oven a little package of garlic cloves. I want to roast them so they get nice and sweet, and we're going to mash that and add that to the ricotta. So here go my tomatoes. And I'm going to just take off these other vegetables. I've got zucchini and eggplant and tomatoes. You can use whatever vegetables you can find that are in season that day. There we go. Okay. So, here's what goes into the cheese. 4 ingredients. I've already got a quart of milk in there. I'm now going to add a half a cup of heavy cream. A little bit of salt, like a 1/4 teaspoon would be good. And that's kosher salt. Now we're going to bring this up somewhat slowly to a full rolling boil. Stir it so it doesn't scorch on the bottom, because that can happen with dairy products. Now, you may be wondering, why is she using such a deep pan for so little liquid? It's because when the milk boils, I don't know if this has ever happened for you, it comes up and goes over the top. We don't want that to happen. I've got my lemons down here that I nuked. It's my favorite way to get the juice out. And we want about 1.5 tablespoons or 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Out of this whole recipe, with all that milk and all that cream, you only end up with about a cup of ricotta. But oh boy, it is the best ricotta you will ever taste. And you made it. Okay, so let that come up to a boil. Just have to be patient. Let's see how my tomatoes are doing. All right, as soon as you start to see it come up, stir in the lemon juice and turn it down. Okay, you see what happens? Look at that. Doesn't it look awful? But that's what you want it to look like. You're seeing the curds. Now we just let it simmer for a minute, and then we're going to strain it. If you get no curds, add more lemon juice. I've set up a very deep bowl here. It's lined with a strainer that's lined with some cheesecloth. You could certainly use just a dampened paper towel if you wanted to. That would be fine too. And we're going to let this drain for about 10 or 15 minutes. The longer you drain it, the tighter it gets, the more structure it has. If you eat it right away, it's very, very creamy and soft. Right now, you can see what it's like. See, it's very, very soft. I think I'm only going to give this like 5 more minutes because it's draining so quickly. Let me go get my garlic. I'm going to mash it up because I'm going to flavor it with a little mashed garlic. You could leave the garlic out, but I just think it's a nice addition. And when you roast garlic like this in foil in an oven, it just gets so wonderfully, oops, it is hot, so wonderfully creamy and sort of sweet. It's not that intense garlic, which, you know, some people, it's just too much, just really nice. I'm just going to cut it in half so I can squeeze it out. I could have roasted it ahead of time and cooled it off, which would have actually made my life much easier than using my asbestos fingers here. So I'm going to add that to here. But before I do, I just want to pause and show you, look at all that liquid. There's some more still coming out of it. You can use that liquid in baking, sort of where you would have used milk. You don't have to throw it out. Okay, here comes, we're going to plop this right into the bowl with our garlic. Wow. This ricotta will keep in the fridge for a couple of days. It's fresh, so eat it while it's fresh. And we're ready to assemble our sandwich. Like, for each sandwich, we're going to want about 1/4 cup of this, because this is about a cup. I have some beautiful rustic whole grain bread. Vegetables. I'm going to put a little bit of everything. This is a vegetable dagwood. Why not? Oh boy. Whoa. And to go with this, I've toasted off some kale leaves. There we go. So they become like chips. You see this? Some kale leaves and some parsnips. These are parsnips that you just slice on a mandolin. You can even slice them with a peeler. Then toss them with olive oil, salt, and pepper, and pop them in the oven. I'm going to take this outside. It's a beautiful day. A well-constructed sandwich is a satisfying solution for a wonderful weeknight meal. Put any number of healthy ingredients between 2 slices of bread and dinner is served. I'm Sara Moulton. See you next time for more of Sara's Weeknight Meals. Sara's Weeknight Meals continues online. For recipes, helpful tips, messages, and lots more, visit us on the web at saramoulton.com/weeknightmeals. And go to our YouTube channel, Sara's Weeknight Meals TV. Funding provided by
The 2016 Subaru Legacy. With symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 36 mpg. It pairs well with every kind of road. Subaru, proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
And thanks to the generous support of